Number two is still also, my concern is again is, I mean, if this was that, look, we need to support people as at that time. So why do we need to, get offices that at that point we will not be able to go to the office at that time? Why do we need to, because movement was restricted, why do we need to buy vehicle even as at that time? Why do we push the money to the people that needed the money as at that time? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Honorable, let's okay. Oh, okay, Anthony.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is, they claim that 66 billion was disbursed to 1.2 million people. That's the aggregate. And if you look at the graph, the SNAP report, even assuming the amendment you are trying to make now, instead of the amount per beneficiary of 30,000 naira, you are trying to amend it to 50,000.
It was 50, sir.
I didn't know it was, because you won't be making that mistake. It's not easy to make that mistake.
I'm under
well,
us.
no problem.
Under us.
So even if you calculate that 50%, that gives you 4.124.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Giving you an achievement target of 89%. But my issue is in this transport scheme.
Yes, sir.
Wherein you claimed achievement target amount of 135%.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you set a target of 100%,
Yes, sir.
and now you are achieving 135%,
Yes, sir.
where is the differential?
I will explain, sir.
Wait, please, before you explain.
Yes, sir.
Before you explain, because we're trying to also get the figures right. Assuming without conceding to you that the sum was actually 50,000 and not the 30,000 naira that you formulated in your document.
Yes.
If you still multiply 50,000 by this number of beneficiaries, the figure you have is not what you put on your document.
It's not.
Can you?
It's exactly the figure, sir.
It's Chairman, it will be 50,000.
Your figure is 4,124,550.
Yes.
Okay, but your budget was 4,012,000,012.
Yes.
That was the budget, sir. But we're
Okay,
talking
but
of the
if you
successful.
add all that you had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns,
Yes.
you came to a conclusion that you spent 66 billion naira.
Yes, sir.
That's my question. Yeah.
But if you do an addition of what you have there, does it amount to 66 billion naira?
Yes, sir. 66 billion 20 naira, sir. And 20,000.
Are you affirming that? Because I have tried that like twice here, I didn't get that sum.
I am, sir.
An addition of 47 billion plus 4 plus 11 plus 2 plus 1 on the successful disbursement column.
Yes, sir.
You were responding to other questions before?
Exactly, sir.
Go
But
ahead.
your question, sir, on the issue of guaranteed offtake scheme, there were 37,029 beneficiaries that we paid 30,000 to.
Okay, you paid 30,000 to how much?
37,029 beneficiaries, sir. And then 17,491 delivered as agreed. And they were paid their 70% balance.
They were paid 100,000 naira.
Straight, sir.
17,491 people were paid the 100,000 naira.
Exactly, sir.
That's the 30,000 plus another 70,000.
Sir?
That's the 30,000 plus another 70,000.
Exactly, sir. It gives you 100,000, sir. Then you have a total of 19,538 beneficiaries that after collecting the 30,000, they refused to supply the items. And MSS...
Yes, that would just be a subtraction of 17,491 from 37,029.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So, and these people, they have refused to respond.
How many are they?
They are 19,538. They collected the 30,000 and refused to produce the items. They also refused to return the 30,000 collected.
Was that condition made clear at the beginning of the grant that if you don't supply, then you must refund the 30,000 naira?
Yes, sir.
Through what instrument was that made clear?
Well, there was an agreement signed between each would-be beneficiary and SMEDAN.
And SMEDAN?
And SMEDAN, because SMEDAN is part of the project itself. We went to BPP with the chairperson, the minister then, and after deliberations, it was agreed that since SMEDAN deals with small businesses across the country, they are the ones that should be responsible for signing agreements with them and making sure that all these items are brought.
Sorry, they are calling my attention to this calculation we're trying to do. Now, this is the calculation we got from the figures you supplied, displayed there for you. So rather than 66 billion and 20,000, which you brought up.
Yes, the lady is correct. You remove
which lady?
The lady behind. You remove 1,494,534,000 out of it, which was taken out of the 9 billion. It gives you the same 66 billion.
That was taken out of what?
You know, we said CAC registration was not part of what was paid to beneficiaries. It was taken from the 9 billion and paid to CAC. So, but if we add the figure, and we said, under that on the table, we said 1.5
billion. The 9 billion running cost was where you funded the CAC registration from?
Exactly, sir. And we said covered under the expenses. If you look at it under it, where we wrote 1.5 billion, and then 1.494 billion, you will see covered under the expenses. So it is not supposed to be part of.
Yeah, but you have lumped them together with successful disbursement while explaining 66 billion naira.
Probably that was why we wrote that, sir. We started that this is taken out of the expenses. It's
all right. The question you were trying to answer before then was on the SMEDAN, the document of agreement.
Yes, sir. SMEDAN and all would-be beneficiaries signed an agreement to produce the items. They all signed. SMEDAN got them to sign. SMEDAN too signed before the funds were disbursed to them. When they refused to do that, SMEDAN wrote to them again. MSS were sent to them, but still no response. No. It's part of the report.
Were the funds disbursed directly from the BOI?
The funds were disbursed directly, sir.
To each of the beneficiaries?
To each of the beneficiaries, sir.
So did you envisage that there will be a failure or a breach of that agreement?
Honestly, no, sir.
You didn't even give a room for 5–10% of breach?
Because it was more
you are a bank.
Yes,
and
sir.
You should be interested in recovering monies.
Yes, sir, because we were dealing with companies that were registered.
Yes.
In every part of the country. People were suffering. The government has come up with an issue that, okay, produce and we'll pay.
How much of that have you recovered since COVID ended? How many years ago now?
Well, SMEDAN has been working on it, sir.
Why should it be SMEDAN? You are the bank. You are the one. You are the one that disbursed the money. Why are you throwing it to SMEDAN?
SMEDAN signed the agreement with them, sir.
Okay. And you don't care. You don't care about. You don't.
No, we do care.
No, you don't. You don't.
If
you do, listen, executive director, listen.
Yes, sir.
If it's your own personal money, you won't treat it this way. You won't treat your personal money this way. You can't have your microfinance bank, for example, and then this sum of money is gone, and then you are throwing it to a third party that signed an agreement with you. You will have a mechanism for recovery of loan or advances you give out to persons.
B, shouldn't you have been a part of this contract between SMEDAN and these beneficiaries?
Yeah.
No,
and if you are part of the contract, wait now.
Yes,
if
sir.
you are part of this contract,
yes, sir.
So what is your interest?
Our interest is to make sure that these amounts were disbursed to Nigerians, let them produce the items,
so
pay them the
if
money.
there are losses, you have no interest. You are only interested in disbursement.
No, we are interested. We are working together with SMEDAN. We are under the same ministry. The ministry is involved. Ministry of Finance is involved because the funds were from federal government.
If I were you, I should have been worried because I'm the one doing the disbursement. This money was in your domicile with you. These monies were domiciled with you. Smeden is a third party here.
That's right, sir. No, we are worried. We are worried, more concerned about the integrity of the people. Because government gave you an opportunity to produce. It's not a loan that we will give you money to produce. When you produce, we'll pay you the balance.
Concerning you that this is a COVID period. This amount of money you are giving somebody to produce when there's no movement. Shouldn't you have been worried that there will be default?
Well, we have been worried.
That point is established. It's actually a failure of your recovery mechanism. You know, every bank should have a recovery mechanism. And, you know, if these monies are part of your operating capital,
yes,
and this sum of money is lost, you know what that would mean to
yes,
your bank, especially if it is not a government institution as it is now.
yes, sir. The only difference, Chair, sir, is that this was not a loan. It was more like a grant from the government. And what we could do, because everybody was brought on board, DOI, you are to disburse. Smeden, you have to sign the agreement between you and these entrepreneurs. After all, you deal with entrepreneurs on a daily basis. You know them. And agreements were signed. We were guided by BPP. People with conscience produced, and they were paid their amount. Those that refused to produce, all efforts to reach them have failed. And therefore, what we could do was to inform government. Government has been informed.
So, okay, we take note of that.
Yes.
We'll take note of that because it's a very, very important point in this investigation. And then we come to the issue of your expenses and management fee.
Yes, sir.
So did it amount to 9 billion naira?
Yes, sir. 3% is management fee.
3% of 75 billion you took as management fee.
This was meant to be for all the activities the bank will do, including the use of manpower.
I understand now. 3% of 75 billion. Is that correct?
Check the figure. It's 2.2 billion. Yes, sir.
All
That's
right.
the amount.
And
Yes,
then another 9%.
no, sir, 6% now. The totality is 9%. 3%.
No, what you check your page
Oh,
one.
yes, 12%. 12%.
Ah.
So 9%, you're right, for expenses and other things. That will include vehicles purchase, office establishment, the use of computers, everything, because every state
Just
had a
wait.
focal
We don't want you to do this one verbally. That's why we are asking you.
Yes, sir.
We need a record of the expenditure of the 12 billion naira
That's right.
that the BOI took from it's 9 billion, actually 12% of 75 that the BOI took of this MSME Survivor Fund as operational costs. We need you to provide us with details of the expenditure of that sum of 9 billion naira.
That will be done, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, as a principle adopted by this committee and the chairman, to be fair to all, a lot of lapses from the communication lies with the Smeden because of their commitment in the agreement that all the stakeholders took, and Smeden, they have role. I want to request that, Mr. Chairman, we also hear the other version from Smeden with regard this fund. This is one. Secondly, Chairman, they made submission of a lot of documents which we may not be able to study to verify all the beneficiaries. I want to plead that they provide us with soft copy so that we may decide to take some sample size to make a proper evaluation of the beneficiaries. These are the two things I am bringing, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Honorable colleague.
Mr. Chair, sir,
Yes,
we have
please.
already brought soft copy.
Of all the documents.
Everything that
Th-
is here
thank you.
is here.
Very good. Thank you. And then, Honorable colleague, your observation on the need for us to also invite Smeden to provide further insight into this component. Not only Smeden, in the Corporate Affairs Commission will also need to be invited to provide insight into those expenditures. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, let me first tender an unreserved apology for coming a little bit late. I was there when we started, but I had to attend to the Chief of Air Staff who was waiting for me in the office. And I'm particularly interested in some of the things I heard you talking about when I came in. And, if you permit me, I just want to ask our guest here a few questions.
Yes, sir.
Please, Mr. Chairman, if you permit me, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I want to find out if you have the financial regulation rules. Do you have it with you? Or do you want me to help you read the relevant section that I want to quote? 603 state that all payment vouchers must be supported with relevant supporting documents. I discovered that most of the disbursements of your loans are without sufficient supporting documents, and that's why it becomes almost difficult for you to recover all of those loans. From record that I have with me, that certain loan to the tune of 4.6 billion, sometimes between 2017 to 2018, was not recouped. I don't know what explanation you have for that.
Honorable member, to be honest with you, I have not seen that document. But I know some years back that question came and we supplied every document that is required. So I'm in charge of SME in Nigeria, in BOI. Last year we disbursed 64 billion to SMEs across the country. There was not a single disbursement that was made without a proper documentation. You know, we are checked by the Office of the Auditor General, we are checked by CBN, we're checked by external auditors, and because we have an opportunity to interact and bring in funds from foreign banks, they also check our documents. It is certainly not part of us.
I'm happy that you mentioned the Office of the Auditor General, because it was actually in the Auditor General's report that some of the documents they required of you, you were unable to furnish, like the particulars of collateral used for such securities, the bank guarantee, the credit appraisal, the offer letter, and all of that, that you were unable to furnish at that particular time. And while you're going to respond to that, I equally want to ask you about the placement of your managed funds. What is the situation?
Managed funds?
Yes.
Well, let me...
And then in addition to that, you also affirmed that you had audited accounts, especially of the COVID fund.
Yes, sir, it's audited.
And I would like the Office of the Auditor General to confirm that they received copies of your audited account and make such audited account also available to this committee. The audited account of the Bank of Industry in the last 5 years. All right, go ahead.
So maybe if you can furnish us with your cash book to show those managed funds, so we know where we are.
No, it's even asserted now that there were no unrecovered fund of 4.something billion.
No, sir, because the truth is, there is no way. I start from a state office, let's say in Adamawa. The state manager has gone to see a project. The prospect has applied. They have checked all the documentations. The state manager will forward those documents with recommendation to the regional manager. The regional manager will pass the documents to the regional legal officer. The regional legal officer will look at it, will pass the documents to regional risk officer. He will also confirm this. Then they come to, from the region, they go to the divisional head. From the divisional head, he will check all this before sending them to headquarters. In headquarters, RMD will check, legal will check, and all concerned. After that, it will go to general manager. general manager will approve after confirming all these documents or reject. After that, it will come to the executive director.
Then how come you wrote off some debts, some loans?
Well, writing off
How
some.
come? If you have all this
No,
scenario in place, how come you are writing off debts?
Well,
Loans that were taken?
Well,
Why?
if the percentage is minimal, it is natural that you also make provision for that, because
That
the
goes
truth
to the
is,
tune of over 250 million naira.
billions, sir.
Yes, 250 million. Yes.
You see,
That
for
you wrote
example, we had projects in Kogi, we had some in Jigawa. 2
I'm
years
saying
back,
that if
there
you
was
have
terrible.
all these checks in place, how come you are now writing off loans?
No, that
they are
means the loan-
unsubstantiated. You couldn't
It means
recover
that
them again.
the loan would have been disbursed. It's performing. It gets to a level where probably some natural disasters. I was mentioning Jigawa, I mentioned Kogi, where you had flood, that the factories were submerged. And at that time you discover, or in some cases, you have the chief promoter dead or killed, and all efforts to recover. Probably the property that was pledged can only pay for 50% because of damages and the effect of the
All
flood.
right, because we have a long way to go,
Yes.
I don't want us to veer too much off, from the main issue. So, the total sum of monies that you have not recovered from the guaranteed offtake scheme is how much?
It's 1.1 billion naira.
1.1 billion.
Yes, sir.
Is the total sum that you paid, but goods were not supplied for,
Yes, sir.
and which has not been recovered.
It has not been recovered. because-
1.1 billion naira.
Yes, sir. 19,538 Nigerians were involved in this.
Okay, can you look at page 13? Page 13 of your submission.
Yes, sir.
Page 13, under that guaranteed offtake scheme,
Yes, sir.
you said a total of 19,538, they are the same persons,
Yes, sir. They are.
refused to deliver the products agreed. The sum of 586 million was disbursed to these beneficiaries.
Yes, sir.
So which one is 1.1, which one is 586 million?
We said no refunds has been made by the out of the total sum of 1.1 billion disbursed, because this amount was supposed to be returned to us. The total disbursement under that was 1.1 billion. The ones that paid, that received 30 and brought the items were paid their balance of 70,000.
So how much do you have to recover? How much are the sums of money that is due to be returned back to government?
586
But you
million.
just said 1.something
No,
billion
no, I
now.
was talking of the total. And
No.
then subtract the amount.
I asked you how much.
It's
You even
586.
mentioned the number of 19,538.
Yes, sir.
You said 1.something billion.
No,
So which
500
one should we take, sir?
586 million.
586 million is the sum that we should take as sum due to be returned,
Exactly, sir.
which you have not been able to get back.
Yes, sir.
All right. And Honorable, because there's another, please, I don't want you to leave. There's another very important matter. They have not spoken about the 50 billion naira export provinces. I want us to move to that. Yes.
I just want to thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sorry for my late coming. I just want to find out this loan giving. I did not no insurance on them. I did not insure.
They are not insured. I think they are. Oh well. Sorry. Let me answer for them.
They are actually funds given to them to help them produce by the government. There were people that took 30,000. There were people that were given 50,000 free. And these ones were producers that, okay, produce and we'll pay you the balance. So they took the 30,000. Instead of producing, they disappeared.
Okay.
Some of them, when they were contacted, even said, well, other Nigerians benefited with 50,000, 30,000. So
Those that produce, where did they supply the goods to?
there are warehouses identified by Smeden across the country.
Who took receipts of the
Smeden.
items?
Smeden.
Okay. So please note that, so that Smeden took receipt of the goods or products that these people supplied,
Exactly, sir.
and then gave them a certificate upon which you paid them the balance.
Exactly, sir.
Please be very mindful of the questions.
I'm saying, sir, even the steering committee gave the 17,000 letters of commendation for living up to expectation. So
17,000.
yes, 17,000 who produced and got the balance of their payments. They were given letters commending them for being good Nigerians, as against the 19,000 that have refused to produce.
All right. All right.